welcome back to Smashing Heads Podcast. This is going to be our first episode for the All-Star season, which is on Paramount Plus. As always, my name is Zach, and I'm joined by my wife, Hannah.
Hey, what's up?
My best friend, Jake.
Paramount Plus, it's nice and plush. How's everybody doing tonight? I started to say have a good night, everyone.
Yeah, have a good night. We're done. We just wanted you to know
bye.
that we watched it once. So we watched All-Stars. It is currently Saturday. Typically, we're not going to record these All-Star recaps on Saturday, but the reason we had to record it on Saturday is because we initially were going to record Double Agents on Wednesday, All-Stars on Thursday, and then Wes was like, hey, let's record tonight, which was Wednesday, and we're like, well, that's going to screw everything up.
Well, and we've been real busy hiding a bunch of eggs, too.
If anybody that's doing an Easter egg hunt, we're the ones responsible for that.
Yeah, every Easter egg hunt anywhere.
We're like the Santa Claus.
We've been traveling the world hiding.
Jesus. We're the Santa Claus of Jesus.
Well, Jesus doesn't hide the eggs. I think you're getting a little confused in your...
No,
he
are the Santa Claus of Jesus. We're the ones hiding the eggs.
That still doesn't...
Wait.
That analogy
the
still doesn't
Santa
work.
Claus of Jesus?
Yeah. What is that?
It's Easter.
Yeah.
That's Jesus's holiday.
Okay, but he didn't hide eggs.
Because we did.
We've been hiding the eggs.
We did it for him. So if you have
that was Jake's dad's favorite band.
Eggs?
For him.
Oh, for him, yeah.
If you have eggs anywhere and your children are hunting them or you are hunting them,
we did it.
We did it.
So we interviewed Wes, which it wasn't really an interview. It's not live right now everywhere. It's only on our Patreon, and our patrons have given us a lot of good feedback on it. It is, I would say, the most unusual interview that is challenge related that you'll ever see, because you'll just have to watch it. Again, I made a whole intro and outro video. You'll see it. It's going to be coming live everywhere, I believe Monday. It's only patreon.com/smashingheads podcast right now in video and audio form. And we recorded for over 3.5 hours. I think the final version, after we edited out bathroom breaks and things like that, was 3 hours and 26 minutes or something like that. The longest podcast we've ever done by far. The second longest was the first time we interviewed Wes, and we actually split that into 2 parts.
This one's all one.
This one is all one huge podcast, and
it's perfect if you have a road trip coming up.
Well, I mean, we got people that didn't have road trips that have listened to it, and they've loved it.
They sat and watched it.
Sat and watched all of it. It's a fun time. It's just
it's a fun time.
If you're a fan of Wes, I think you're gonna enjoy it because basically the first hour and a half is just Wes trying to use his manipulation tactics on Jake and myself.
Right.
And so that's where that goes. We do get to challenge stuff eventually, but his whole bit was he did not want to talk about challenge stuff.
It was funny. I liked the joke.
And so, again, that's up on our Patreon, patreon.com/smashingheads podcast, but it'll be everywhere else Monday as we are recording this. Is there anything else I need to plug off top?
I see you're drinking Liquid Death over there. Do you want to explain what that is?
Well, Zachary and I don't drink.
Well, that's
okay.
It looks like a can of beer, but it's actually mineral water.
It's not mineral water.
Yes, it is.
It says mountain water on it.
That's what it is.
I
read the side of the can. I got a can earlier today, and I read the side of it while I was eating lunch.
Yeah,
and
a can of corn.
Good one. It's just a company that makes water that's in a can.
Did he say crumpany?
Yeah, crumpany.
It's a crumpany.
Yeah, it's. I didn't say that at all.
You know that crumpany?
We've recorded a lot in like the last week, and so there's
we've been around each other a lot.
We did watch All Stars. I'm not even gonna plug anything else. You know where to find us. If you're listening to this, screw you.
Jeez.
It's because he said crumpany.
Yeah,
and he said that he's real upset that you called him out on it on the podcast.
National.
He's not
podcast.
gonna cut it out or anything.
We are national.
We're international.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, we watched All Stars. Paramount Plus. We're going to be dropping these every week as long as they premiere, which I think is 9 episodes. I'm not sure if they'll do a reunion of any sort. There is an after show. None of us have watched that, I don't think.
No.
Okay. I don't know why it took you so long to think about that. But yeah, we haven't watched that.
It's been long.
It's been long.
Devin Simone is hosting the after show, and so that's a good call. We just haven't watched it because we don't typically incorporate that in our recaps. It is going to be, I think you're going to, if you listen to the last Double Agents recap, we recorded that before we watched All Stars, and I think our takeaway was literally just give us the fun people. And then we watched All Stars, and we were like, this is
all the fun people.
This is the fun people.
Yeah. Even, like, competitively, not a great episode to start off with.
But it was fun.
It was fun. It was so much more fun. So let's just jump right in. We get into All Stars, basically. They show a lot of flashbacks to start off with. You know, kind of showing these people on their previous seasons and things like that. And then they start showing them coming off the bus. Katie, for one, looks great.
She looks better now than she did back then, and I thought
agree.
she was cute back then.
Well, I thought she was just mean and annoying back then, but she
looks fantastic.
She looks good now.
It's like she aged backwards. What's that movie?
Benjamin Button.
Yeah.
A fellow realtor like you, Han.
She's an interior designer.
Never mind. But you guys they coexist.
Yeah.
They do.
They're symbiotic.
Yes.
We coexist.
They're like Venom.
Yeah. I'm wearing a Venom shirt.
Hey!
So yeah,
that's that symbiosis.
Katie, she looks great. Gisela, and these are like all kind of intense intros, and then Gisela or Hisela.
It's Hisela. Everybody I have heard has said Hisela. You're the only person I've heard say Gisela.
There's a little more. There's a little more on it.
I know it's like
but I don't
Hispanic pronunciation.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I'm gonna just let you guys know. I'm probably gonna just say Gisela because I didn't remember her on her other seasons. If I'll try to say Hisela, but again with the way it's written down, because we didn't remember her from her old ones, but she sure remembered Ace not saying something nice about her 15 years ago in a confessional. But she falls off the bus, very reminiscent of the show Next.
Right.
Yes.
Where they get off the bus, and you had a handful of them that would just fall right away.
Top 3 MTV dating show of all time.
Yeah. Well,
I could do a podcast on Next.
I wasn't allowed to watch MTV when I was growing up.
Well, I wasn't either.
Unless I
but you did.
Unless I was at my grandma's house, because she would not care what I watched. And so Next and Date My Mom were like the only two. Oh, and Shot at Love with Tila Tequila.
Room Raiders.
That was another one.
And Room Raiders.
Wasn't as big a fan of Room Raiders.
It was okay.
But I really
Robin
liked...
from The Challenge was on
that
there.
episode.
I really, really liked Next. That was my favorite one.
Next was a good one. I think Jake and I have talked about this on past podcasts. There was one called Eliminate on like...
Yeah, the intro would be like, Eliminate.
Yeah. Very similar concept, though. But I made Hannah watch a couple of those on YouTube a while back.
I don't remember that.
Of course not.
Hey, when are we going to watch Kid Nation?
This is not about that. So Trishelle in her intro basically says, people probably remember me as being 50% a bad A and then 50% a quitter. And I was like, that's pretty accurate.
Han is not a fan.
No, my second note was Trishelle is 50% quitter.
That's it.
She owns up to it. She quit Rivals 2. She was partnered with Sarah.
And that made Sarah go home, and that made me upset.
Yeah.
Hey, did you know that Mark has a size 15 shoe?
I didn't. But Mark's 49 years old, and he's still in amazing shape.
The older you get, the bigger your feet get.
Is that true? I know your ears get bigger.
I didn't say that. She said that.
Your ears and nose, right?
Yeah, your ears and nose never stop growing, but I said that Mark has a size 15 shoe, and Zach paired that with, he's 49 now.
I mean,
as though
that's a
that
fact.
meant now that he's older, he has grown into a size 15 shoe.
You know, I never have asked him what his shoe was before.
Well, he gave it up willingly.
Yeah, Mark, again, there's a handful of these people that look like they have not aged at all. Then there's another handful that look better than before. And then there's some that you're like, oh, yeah, it's been a while since you've been on TV.
Yeah.
And guys like Alton, he still looks exactly the same.
Exactly the same. Hasn't changed a day.
Like, he hasn't changed a day?
Nope. It's the same day now as it was when he first appeared on the challenge.
So we find out early on, TJ, because they kind of split up all the introductions because 22 people. They didn't want to do everyone at the top of the show. TJ lets him know that this is an individual game, but there will be teams sometimes, which is very reminiscent of Free Agents, which is a season that we all like the format of.
Yes.
Right.
I really liked Free Agents.
Because basically you never know who... Because so the politics become very interesting because sometimes... You're going to be on someone's team one day and not the next day, so you don't really have any allegiance to keep people around. You're just looking out for yourself.
Did you catch that really good quote from Ace?
I did not write any...
Ace said,
I did.
Never underestimate the power of greed.
That's not the one I had. I have another quote that I'm pretty sure is from Ace, the next thing. But before we get to Ace's quote, Beth brought up the tenderoni thing.
Yep.
Which, when we actually talked to Wes, he's like, yeah, that didn't happen. And we're like, yeah, we know. Nehemiah told us it didn't happen.
What?
You were
her calling him a tenderoni?
No,
they had a clip of it.
But they didn't hook up like what it was made out to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, even Nehemiah said that.
That's what I just said.
No, I mean like when we interviewed Nehemiah.
That's what I just said.
Okay. You just threw me off because you didn't specify what you were talking about not happening.
She calls him tenderoni, and he doesn't really like it. The quote that I have from Ace after that was that people will, in the old days, they would kill each other for a scooter. And they did used to give away weird little things like that. So
robot cars?
Little, videotaping cars and stuff.
Is Beth married?
I don't know.
I thought somebody said that she was married. Maybe that was you.
Why would I say I don't know if I told you earlier that she was?
I don't know. Regardless, it seemed to make Nehemiah uncomfortable when she was yelling that at him.
Because I think in her mind they have a different relationship. Actually, when we were with Wes, didn't he say him and Nehemiah were in LA somewhere, and then she just walked by on the street, and they're like, "What?"
I don't remember that one.
Okay, good job, guys. Well, Hannah wasn't there for that part, and then Jake apparently just tuned out completely.
We spent the whole... We talked about a lot of stuff.
We did. We talked about a lot. So we get into the daily. Seems like a more old school type daily. It's called Deep Blue Dive. I mean, it's not as bad as the naming on Double Agents.
Well, one thing we find out while they're picking out captains is this is not for the kids.
No.
No.
There's an F-bomb from Tech.
Tech's got a lot of them.
I like Tech.
I like Tech.
Because of the F-bombs?
He's just fun.
Yes.
We just need fun people.
Yeah.
So this, on Paramount Plus, it's all uncensored, and like people in our Slack group were like, why aren't the old seasons on there not uncensored? And I was like, they made an original edit for TV. They probably just transferred all that over. Like, they're not going to go back and then re-edit them all. And I was like, so maybe you could get future ones that way. But it is interesting because, we've watched these shows for how many years. And, you can kind of guess what people are saying, but you never fully know. And this one, definitely, I would say it's not one to watch if you've got little kids around or anything like that.
Or if your ears are just sensitive to that.
Sure. So this one is a team challenge, 2 teams of 11. There's a copper and a silver team. I don't know why those were the two.
Should have been like blue and red. I don't know why I couldn't say the word blue.
Yeah, I don't know why that was. They never explained why those were the 2 colors picked. Maybe because they're in their like silver age, golden age. No, they're not gold.
And some of them have been hardened to like copper.
Copper's a very soft metal.
Is it?
Yeah.
So, as you get older, you're more fragile.
And brittle.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. We've got the silver age and the brittle copper.
Yeah.
Like peanut brittle.
Basically, there's a math equation on some big board, and you have to solve an individual equation, which then correlates to one big equation, and you have to swim out and retrieve your puzzle piece, and then the bigger the number, the further out and the deeper it is. And from what I've seen from the contestants, apparently the water was freezing, like insanely cold.
Kendall actually went on a tweet thread after the first episode aired, and she was saying how, like, a lot of them almost suffered from, like, hypothermia. She said she almost blacked out from being so cold. Her whole body went numb.
There's a handful of people on this show that have, like, almost zero body fat. And so, like, they were going to, like, be chilled to the bone, basically. And the thing that sucks, though, is this is the first challenge. And when the first person DQ'd, which, by the way, was Trishelle, was the first person to not go. I was like, oh, no, I really hope this doesn't get sad. Actually, before we get into that, speaking of what Jake said, the captains, they don't know what the role of the captains are going to be, and they don't know what the consequences of a captain are going to be, but Latarian steps up, and then Kellyanne does too, as long as they have her back. You know, she said if anything went down. And then Hasela and Tech were the other two captains. And I did not write down who was on what team. I think, Jake, you wrote down the winning
winners
team.
Yeah, the winners.
So the others are on the losing team.
That's right.
So,
Before it started, did you catch...
I was wrong, actually.
What?
Beth was the first one to take the 5-minute penalty.
I thought
yeah.
so.
Yeah, that's my
She
fault.
gave up immediately and then swam back quickly. She actually did a very slow backstroke, and then she started swimming the wrong direction.
Trishelle actually just decided she wasn't going to do it.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, her quote was that she thought this was just going to be hanging out by the pool and drinking. And I was like, well, why are you here? You know what this is.
Well,
why?
So supposedly, some of these people did not realize that it was like a modern day challenge.
They thought it was going to be the carnival games.
They thought it was
going to
be the more old school, which it is going to have some of that. But there's old school and being fun, and then there's also like, oh, well, this isn't even like hard. Like, you should not get $500,000 for doing this.
Did you notice before they started, Alton was talking about the greats of the game that were here, and he put John A. in the same pool as Ace, Mark, and Kellyanne.
So,
I wouldn't consider Ace.
I was just about to say, I was like, Ace isn't a great.
But Mark and Kellyanne were really good at the challenge.
Mark is the best out of the four. I would say just objectively, Kellyanne's the next best.
Kellyanne was pretty good at the challenge.
She was.
The seasons
she
that
wasn't
she did.
bad, but she never won. Ace is like 0-4 in eliminations, I think, and then John A. is an interesting pick for this show, if we'll just say that. But basically, you know, there's very few people that could complete this task. I know some people in our Slack group were like, why is there even a time penalty? Like, why does it matter? And I was like, I think they thought there would be a time penalty, and it would dissuade people from not going. And then they would, like, if you solved your puzzle, and then the other team solved their puzzle later, then they'd have to add up the penalties. But it doesn't even seem like the second team. It seems like they just gave up, and they weren't even trying anymore.
It was weird to watch, wild and weird to watch. It felt like watching older people.
I thought
do
Arissa
this.
was gonna die. She is one that went out there, and then they like had to like bring the medics over too, because she's like super thin and just like there's not a lot to her. And I was like, this must be a lot colder than what I thought it was, because she was like freaking out, and like everyone else was too. And, you know, you had a handful, like, who were the ones that finished? Like, Alton, Darrell.
Hasela did it a couple times.
Hasela.
She really surprised me. She was one of the only females and competitors in general to actually swim out there and get a block and bring it back.
Mommy mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nehemiah, Mark Long, I think Derek. For the most part, though, I'd say well over 50% just DQ'd.
Yes.
Almost everybody.
Yeah, and you just had to, like, run everyone else back through.
Well, you know who made it?
Yes, that was the other guy.
That's the other guy that showed up.
Yeah, yes
Right.
was a big surprise.
Big surprise. And you know who else made it a point to mention that we talked about this Trishelle. Now she's here on, you know, just expecting to kick back, relax, drink a little bit, whatever. How about Jimmy, huh? This ain't a vacation to her no more. At least she says so.
Yeah.
And she actually went out and got one. And
Does
came
that mean
back.
that she was treating every other challenge as a vacation?
She said so.
She also says she was retired, but we don't. Is it really retiring if you're not cast on a show? I don't know.
Oh.
Do you know that she wasn't?
I don't know for sure, but I mean, there may be. I don't know.
You might get a lot of people upset with that.
I might. Get,
We've gotten plenty of people
Yeah,
upset
I know.
over much lesser stuff, so or
That's-
much worse.
yeah.
Which one is it?
Either one works.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, I think who was the one that said this is I think it was Tech. He was like, this is basically the Challenge Seniors Edition, and
It did kind of feel like that.
I was worried. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
not.
it
I
stressed
wasn't
me out
worried
a
that
little.
people were gonna be like hurt. I was worried that they set the bar too high for the first challenge. And like, Mark Long as a guy who's been pushing for this for months now and is an executive producer, that he's got to be like, oh no.
Because this is stuff he can do.
Yeah. And he's one of the oldest.
He is one of the oldest, but also he's one of the few that's in the greatest shape of their lives. And so you got to think about the other people that are on this, that it's older people that have been on or were on the challenge years and years ago. And a lot of them have kind of slowed down in life. Most of them are parents and married and just kind of chilling out. And to come back, I mean, your body doesn't keep up like it used to. We saw it in Double Agents. Darrell versus, who did he go against?
Corey.
But Darrell was never fast, and Corey was
I'm just saying,
defensive back in
a part of
college.
it is Corey was a lot younger than Darrell. And as you get older, your body slows down.
No, I
It's
agree
just
with that. I was worried
Science.
that it was just like, oh, we've got all these people here. We've got Bina Murray and Paramount to spend all this money, and we're
people
not.
can't
Yeah,
do
we're
it.
not even going to be able to do these, and so we're going to have to scale them back on the fly. But even as bad as it was, like from a competitive standpoint, it didn't feel. It was still fun.
That was what I was about to say. At no point was I like, ugh, I ain't.
This is sad.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, they can't do it, but I still was having fun the whole time. And it wasn't like on Double Agents when people just weren't competing in the dailies, which we've talked about was annoying. Big Easy had to get rescued. Latarian had to get rescued. It looked like he was drowning. Ultimately, the silver team wins. With Jake, you have the silver team written down.
That's the
I do.
underdog team.
Do you want me to read them off?
Yeah.
Yes. Big Easy, Darrell, Nehemiah. Say her name?
Hasela?
Hasela. Tech, Arissa, Beth, Jimmy, Kendall, and Han's favorite, Trishelle.
Again, I think they were thinking they were the underdogs going into this.
They called themselves the underdogs.
Yeah, just kind of looking, because T just said the teams are randomized. I wrote down, I was like, Yes was far and away the MVP of this team.
Yeah.
Like he won, was going out and retrieving stuff, but then he's an architect, so he deals with a lot of math and
All the time.
He's the one who figured out the whole equation and got it to where they won.
So because he was one of the two team captains, that made Tech safe from the first elimination, which is a men's elimination.
I said Yes was the
Yeah.
okay,
Tech was the
but yeah,
captain.
I said Yes was the MVP, and anyway, it's
My brain is very slow today. I had to tell somebody that like a couple hours ago. They were trying to explain something to me, and I said, "You're speaking English, but for some reason it's translating to a foreign language. I don't know."
Sorry, Zach.
I'm
It wasn't
super
me.
out of it tonight.
So anyway, Yes was who we said was MVP, but Tech and Hasela were the captains, and so they would be safe depending on what the elimination was. Turns out it's a guy's elimination, so Tech's safe, but they let Hasela have
a lifesaver.
Yeah, which we haven't seen in
A long
God,
time.
I don't even know when, like Gauntlet era or something like that.
But even the captain thing is from Gauntlet era.
Yeah. So, which I like. I like this format.
Yeah.
And so even the winning team, you're not necessarily safe from the vote. And it just means Tech is safe. But on the flip side of that, if you're a captain and you lose, whatever guys' day, girls' day, you're automatically one of them going in, which I like that too. It's consequences for losing. And
so you want to, it's risk and reward. You want to risk the chance of that, but the payout is great. You're safe from elimination. They can choose anybody except for you.
Yeah, we talked about it with Double Ages. Like, we want to get back to like losing the daily being a consequence, because right now it doesn't matter on Double Agents. There's gonna be a lot of parallels going back and forth between these two because there's just some flaws in Double Agents. Actually, before we go any further, we're gonna take a quick break. Okay, we're back, and Laterrian tells Cyrus basically that he wants Ace, and he just says he doesn't have a relationship with Ace. He never talk to him. I don't remember what season Laterrian was on, if I'm being honest. I know he said he lost against Alton in his elimination.
I believe that was one of the
Gauntlets or the duels or something like that.
No, it was earlier than that.
Inferno?
No, it's Battle. It looked like Battle of the Sexes.
Was it?
Yeah.
I don't remember. Oh, by the way, if you're listening this far, we did do a draft on Patreon for these teams, so that's where our fantasy points at the end is going to be coming from.
Mm-hmm.
He did Extreme Challenge, Battle of the Sexes. He did the Gauntlet one.
Gotcha.
That's what he lost out on.
Have I seen that one?
I don't think so. I need to go back and watch all those because those are really good seasons. But he wants Ace. Basically tell Cyrus that. And so Laterrian, Hasela, Kellyanne, and Tech are not in the deliberation area. They're off away, so they can't try to sway people's votes, which is a very old school thing to do as well.
Yeah.
So they go into nominations, and because Cyrus has talked with Laterrian, he just basically is like, hey guys, as we get started, which they like parade him out into the woods, into like the set piece by the river or something.
And they're not even facing each other. They're facing the woods.
Yeah, it's TV. They're facing the camera. Some people on our Slack group said it's very like Survivor-esque.
I was going to say it reminded me of Survivor.
So he says, I just want to let you guys know, Laterrian wants Ace. And Ace was just like, well, one, what? And then also, are we just going to let the losers pick every week? Because we haven't decided that or not.
Yeah. I very much understand his argument. But again, these are the old school people that were like, oh, well, it's based on merit, not on who you don't want to go against in the final. And so, I mean, everybody pretty much took Cyrus, or really Laterrian's side, and saying, hey, he's the one going in. This is who he said he wanted. We might as well give him what he wants.
I think that'll hold up for a couple weeks, and then something will change.
Yeah.
How many times do you think he called them evil monsters?
Well, yeah, that was his
You're
big
all
quote.
monsters.
And it wasn't just he said it one to the group, but then he said it like 3 or 4 times in a confessional as well.
I saw again Kendall in her tweet thread. Somebody had mentioned this, and she said it actually went on for a very, very long time, enough that everybody was getting really uncomfortable. But she said he said it a ton of times to their faces.
I get it. Like, from his perspective, like, you've come back to this show after 15, 20 years, and then seemingly out of nowhere, it's like the whole house is like, yeah, we want Ace to go in. Because once Cyrus threw that name out there, which was smart of Cyrus to do because he's friends with Laterrian, from a political standpoint, that name's already out. So it just makes sense to just roll on with that. Don't upset anybody. No one else wants to get their feelings hurt this early. And so it just makes sense to be like, oh, well, it's what Laterrian wanted and everyone else is voting that way, so Ace, it's nothing personal. And so again, he feels like the whole entire house is against him. All right, I didn't think that would just kill the room. Thanks, guys.
I looked at her.
Yeah, I know. I looked at her, and then she's like...
I was waiting for you to finish.
Well, we call that the bandwagon effect.
Yeah.
Right?
It's not very fun.
Started watching Rivals 1 again, and they even referenced that on there.
It's a smart move if you don't want to get involved and get people upset. Like, you just roll with what the room's saying.
Did you know, speaking of Ace, that the whole reason he even did the Real World was for the sole purpose of his big giant crush on Beth in 1993?
I heard him say that. I didn't know that beforehand.
I didn't either. It was kind of weird.
You know, it's fine.
She was flattered. And then she voted for him.
but she sent good vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, it's not anything personal at that point, and you see, like, Ace is upset, and I was like, he's really hitting this monsters quote right here. But then, eventually comes around. They have now that's what I call 90s party. Again, very old school stuff, because in a lot of the old seasons during these, like, off nights or whatever,
Costume parties.
which we did have in Double Agents in the Bubble Club, they had that 80s night, but it didn't feel the same.
It's not as much fun.
That song they dropped, Return of the Mac.
Which I guess never heard before.
What a banger. That is an incredible song.
I can't believe you didn't know that.
I was like, man, this is a good song. And you're like, what is this now? And I was like, Return of the Mac. And then you came in today, you're like, that song's so good.
I've listened to it at least 6 times since then.
It's a good song. Ace originally was going to try to sleep through the party, and I guess he finally realized, hey, there's good chance I go home tomorrow. Might as well have fun at the party before I go.
Well,
so he dressed up like a Mortal Kombat character.
Is that not Assassin's Creed he had on?
Well, first, his joke was, I thought this was an 1890s or whatever. But yeah, it was very...
You cracked up during that.
No. But I was like, he's dressed like he's in Assassin's Creed.
Is that not what it was?
The hood is very Assassin's Creed. Like, they all have hoods that they wear to blend in different areas.
As a Mortal Kombat fan, I take offense to that.
I don't know. I don't know Mortal Kombat.
You take offense to it, too.
I take offense that she didn't know, and you take offense that she put it on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
which
you two can just screw off.
She's seen me play a lot of Assassin's Creed. She should know better.
I'm about to watch that Mortal Kombat movie coming out, and before anybody gets upset about a tangent, I'll stop it right there.
You gonna watch the crap out of it?
I'm gonna watch the crap out of it.
So they have a 90s party. It's a dance party. Everyone's having fun. Seemingly, a lot of people are drinking the next morning. Hasella's like, you can't do this like we used to.
And while she's eating breakfast, Ace is sitting in the stream catching fish with his hands, is what it looked like.
And Kendall's doing yoga.
Yeah.
And Latarian and Cyrus are having breakfast together.
Everybody
and
else is in the house.
Why are you guys,
everybody else is asleep.
Yeah, you guys are...
Did you? But I was just getting to... Ace said that he wants...
Ace lives in the country in Georgia.
Yeah, so that's why I was saying he might be catching fish with his hands.
Yeah, like that would not surprise me at all.
He said the whole reason he wants to win the money is not for himself, but to give it all away to make the world a better place. And I was like,
who's he giving it to?
Yeah, who you giving it to?
Listen,
I thought it was just funny that he
like
said that.
Ace as a person.
I do too. I really liked him.
I think he got the raw end of this deal. I hope that, one, if they wanted to have him back on another season, that he wouldn't just like turn it down because of what happened this time, or two, that because he went home first, that they won't even call him back. Because he's a nice guy.
Yeah,
I think,
and he makes good TV.
Have you ever been hand fishing?
I haven't. I've caught fish in a cup, or like
just scooping.
Yeah,
little scooping motion.
Yeah,
I used to catch bees with jars.
That's not fish.
That's not at all the same.
They'd land on those flowers, and I just take a mason jar and just.
What'd you do with them?
And just pop holes in the top so they could live.
Yeah, but they don't live.
You give them air.
Yeah,
but nothing else.
They have to have pollen, and they have to go back to their hive.
Well, I was like 6 years old. What do I know?
You might be the reason there's a honeybee shortage.
I caught about 8 of them. They're
That's
fine.
too many.
That's way too. That's 8 too many.
So we do get in this morning breakfast with Latarian and Cyrus. We get a Derrick Henry reference.
Hey.
Yeah, you guys got real excited about that.
Well, you don't expect it.
No, you don't. You don't expect the Titans to be referenced on the challenge.
No.
Come on, in Argentina.
Yeah, by a guy who we haven't seen in ever, from our perspective.
Yeah.
On Paramount Plus.
So yeah, he basically said he was gonna do what, like crush him like Derrick Henry or something like that. I don't even remember what the quote was, if I'm being honest.
Probably something about a truck.
Yeah, he's gonna truck him like Derrick Henry. So that's when Ace said he wants to give all the money away. Again, he's a nice guy. It is what it is.
Like Kahutta.
Him and Kahutta are very good friends.
Ooh, if they bring Ace back, I hope they bring Kahutta back.
Well, Kahutta was an alternate.
Like bring them both back on the same season.
Yeah, they're both from like Deep Woods, Georgia, and like Ace is like renovated into like an old hotel that's back in the woods somewhere, and he's like digging up stumps and stuff. Like that's the type of life he's living. And he basically they go to the arena. The arena is what they're calling, because on Double Agents it's the crater. Right away we all kind of see the big circle, so you know it's going to be something. You got to kick the season off with a bang, right?
And pole wrestle is one of the greats.
It's
not
a classic.
I'd say it's not as iconic as Hall Brawl.
It's close,
but I'd say it's number 2.
Yeah,
there have been some great battles with pole wrestle,
or a variation of it, like where it's an X instead or a circle, but same concept.
Yeah,
yeah. So pole wrestle, we knew what it was right away. Ace is going to go against Laterrian, and we find out it's the best of 3 rounds. Laterrian apparently did not know what pole wrestle was.
Yeah, because he said it's pole wrestle, and Laterrian's like, "What's that?"
Yeah, so that should show you how like ingrained in the challenge world he is. I think Ace knew what it was.
But after TJ explained what it was, Laterrian was smiling like a child on Christmas morning.
I mean, Laterrian's what? The guy weigh like 40 pounds more than Ace at least.
Yeah,
he's a big dude, and he's older than Ace, but not a whole lot older. And so they go, and man, Laterrian, he just body slams Ace.
Well, Ace, he got him both rounds. He got Ace on his back, holding on to the pole, and Laterrian took the pole and was picking him up and just slamming him on the ground over and over.
Because here's the only thing I know about Laterrian, because I knew like he gassed, basically couldn't even climb up the pole and out, and destroyed him in the last elimination he was on.
That rope.
I don't know if it was.
I thought it was a rope.
it was more a pole than a rope. Either way,
same difference. But anyway, that happened, and then from some people in our Slack group talking about him, they said he was the original, like what they called popcorn muscle, as far as like he looked the part, but he could never put it together. I tell you what, man, he showed out in this elimination.
Yeah, wasn't even close.
No.
At any point.
The closest it probably got was when Ace got a leg over it to help him out, and then even then, like both rounds, he just like Ace looked like a rag doll.
Yeah,
possibly did him some good because you got to think some of the male competitors saw that and think, I don't want to face this guy in elimination.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If he's like a captain on a losing team, or like his name gets thrown out there in one of those eliminations, and it's one of your friends that's going up against him, you'd be like, well, I hope it's not anything physical, because like it wasn't even close. It was domination.
He considered this his redemption from that last elimination.
Yes, he redeemed anything at this point.
Anything and everything. So I doubt anybody's going to call him popcorn muscles anymore.
No one at this point would want to go against Laterrian in a physical thing. I'm assuming we're going to get Hall Brawl at some point this season, right? I'm trying to think of what other. They're not going to do the whatever it was that Nehemiah and Big Easy did, where it's like, I'll lift all those logs, and this other guy doesn't even get to go.
There's that one. They did it a lot on Free Agents, actually, where they
the ball.
Yeah,
they might
somebody's
do that
playing
one.
defense, and the other one's trying to score.
Oh yeah, and you got to get it in
That's
the
a fun
bin.
one.
They've done. What season was it? They did it where they're on fire. They just set the ball on fire. It was a recent one. They've done variations of that in the past.
Was that Total Madness?
I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if they do want that. I don't even remember what it's called. Do you?
I don't.
Either.
Basketball.
I don't think that's it. But
regardless, it's a pretty iconic elimination.
I'd
classic.
say that's up there for sure. I mean,
we saw that they're doing in one of the trailers. They're doing the thing where you start out taking your rope through the
Oh yeah,
and then you
knot it
switch
up as much as you
I
can.
always liked that one.
I do too.
that's an endurance one, and it's also like a smarts one. Like we saw that. I think Laurel and Camilla did it against each other once.
That's when Camilla beat Laurel.
Yeah, and then there was on Battle of the X's, I believe, X's 2. You had the team version, where it's like Zach and John A versus like Johnny and Johnny Bananas and Nani or something like that. But yeah, that's a good one that I kind of forgot about, and gives you a chance rather than it being just like a headbanger.
Yeah.
So I think like at this point from what we've seen, I think us three are like all in on this show.
Well, one of the first things I said to you guys was they didn't overcomplicate this thing, and it seems like they just are doing a lot of things that they know just work.
Yeah. I agree. I think Mark Long has watched this and been involved in the world for so long that he knows what works. He knows that, having the super athletes is fun for a while, but ultimately you have to have fun to watch people, just personalities.
Yeah, if they're just a powerhouse, but they have no personality, I mean, it's not going to make people want to watch.
Yeah, and so, I think the casting's really solid. I do think some of the alternates are better than the main cast. But
I wish Cook was on here.
I wish Cook and Holeigh and Ryan were on this show for sure. And even Casey, I mean, say what you want about her. You remember her.
Yeah.
So I think this is going to be a super fun season. 9 episodes isn't long, but I think this may be like the kind of the pilot program of this. And if it does well, which by the way, numbers wise, it's doing really well. And so if this takes off the way we expect, we were talking with Wes, and he hinted at typically MTV does, you buy about 3 seasons at a time. He's like, I don't know anything about the Paramount Plus stuff, but I would assume that there's been 3 bought, and you buy them in that production cycle. And so hopefully that's what that means, because it's such a good idea, because you can lead in with your main show, and then when that one's ending, you go right into this, and you've got almost constant challenge stuff, which is great for us.
Yeah, for sure.
It sucks that they kind of are overlapping, but I bet this one was rushed to production because Paramount Plus needed the original content on the front end. But yeah, I mean, it seems like Mark Long, God bless him. I honestly, as we were watching it, I was like, I can't believe this even exists. It's a miracle that this is a thing. And so do you guys want to get into the superlatives? Obviously, Ace went home.
Right.
Yeah.
So we'll go from there. But we got kind of a preview of the season, but we're not going to talk about that type of stuff. So who smashed some heads?
Latarian.
I mean,
literally.
Mommy mode.
Hisela. You know what, man? I'm giving it to Mark Long. I got to give him the first one. Even though he didn't really do a lot in this episode, this wouldn't exist without him, and without him pushing it the way he did.
Do you want to give a personal thank you?
Mark Long, you got to say his full name. Mark Long?
Yeah.
I want to thank you for letting this happen.
Making this happen.
Both.
Producing this happen.
That's not really a phrase. But, thank you for getting this off the ground. I think you know what you're doing. You look great at 49. Jake's pointing at his penis for some reason.
That's not what I pointed.
What'd you just do?
You pointed at your crotch.
You did.
I pointed at the mic.
You pointed at your crotch again.
There's a mic above my crotch.
Jake wants you to talk to his crotch.
Sure. I'd love for you to come on the show and talk to my crotch.
Yeah. No, again, we've talked to Mark at one point, early on in the show. He's like, we'll make it happen soon, and then it just hasn't happened. But he did like some of our stuff, so hopefully we'll have Mark on soon. Again, he's the godfather. He's synonymous with the show, even though guys like Bananas and whatever have won however many. Mark Long is a guy.
It's Mark Long.
Yeah, you associate him with the show. So I got to give the first one to him, even though Latarian did absolutely destroy Ace. So who got their head smashed?
Me, because the first 2 guys in elimination were both on my team.
She's thinking selfishly.
That is pretty selfish, Han.
But I lost a player.
I'm going to give it to your girl, Trishelle, because
It's not my girl, that's for sure.
we ain't on no we ain't in Cancun.
Well, I guess if no one else is going to do it, I got to give it to Ace. He got slammed his head into the ground so many times. I wasn't going to give it to him, but nobody else did. So we're going to take a quick break right here, and we'll be back with the fantasy stuff. All right, we're back. Jake, what are you cooking up?
So this fantasy set, we've changed sponsors here.
Also, we do need to run over who's on whose team before we get started.
Right, but we have changed sponsors for this segment for All Stars. Your new sponsor is, what was that? Starter. Just Do It.
Great.
What is starter?
It's like a Walmart brand of athletic gear.
Okay.
Tony Romo used to rock that stuff.
He did. He sure did. Actually, I don't know.
So we had a fantasy draft, which is
Patreon.com/SmashingHeads podcast. It's up there.
It's exclusively on Patreon, but now we have to spill the beans on whose team. So
we did a snake draft. If you don't know what that is, basically
we whip it around one way, come around the other.
That's it. So Hannah was the first pick, Jake was the second pick, I was the third pick. We all did that on random.org actually. And so it goes 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3. And so 1 and 3 have back-to-back picks and so on. So that's why the teams ended up the way they are. And then because there are 22 competitors and that's not divisible by 3, we have the last person who was not picked is an alternate. Now, that only gets to be applied to a team if someone is medically DQ'd or there's an emergency where they have to go home.
Yeah.
If someone quits or is eliminated, the person who is the alternate does not get to go on that team.
I don't get an alternate after Ace leaving.
This week, yes. Yeah. And also, you don't retroactively get points for the alternate for like the previous weeks when they weren't on your team.
If the alternate did something this week,
Doesn't matter.
the alternate's not on our team,
Exactly.
like if Kendall is sent home because she breaks her leg and I get the alternate, I don't get the alternate's points from last week.
Exactly. It's only from that point forward. And again, we all have to agree that they get to go to that team. Like it's not someone that it is a questionable call. Like we just have watched double agents and seen how many people have been medically disqualified. So we don't want to just leave someone on the bench for no reason.
Well, if you don't understand it by now, we broke that down about 8 different ways just now.
Let's break it down again. How else can we do it?
So, do you want to read off the teams?
I would love to. So I think it'd be cool to break it down this way. Let's talk about each of our first 3 picks. Hannah's first 3 picks. We all went different. Hannah went 3 guys. I went a guy and 2 girls. And Zach, you went 2 guys and a girl.
And a pizza place.
Yeah.
That was a sitcom with Ryan Reynolds in it.
So Hannah's first 3 picks, Mark Long, Nehemiah, and Ace. That
He left you speechless.
That's not a great third pick, Hannah.
I didn't know anything about Ace. I didn't know most of these people. So I don't know.
Out. Latarian was her last pick.
And Mommy Mode was your last pick. That may be you know.
So yeah, okay. So go to your team next.
So my first 3 picks were Derek, Ruthie, and Anissa. I went heavy on the women, and then I think there were a big 4 on here. I think with the guys, it was Mark Long, Derek, Alton, and Darrell. I think those are the big 4. So you came away with Alton, Darrell, and your former middle school crush, Kellyanne.
I wasn't in middle school then.
She was your background on your computer forever.
It's when I was in college.
She was in a little cowgirl outfit, wasn't she?
It was whatever her... Oh, you know what? It was the promo pictures from the Real World Sydney. I think she did have a cowboy hat on.
Oh.
Hannah just punched her mic. She was so upset about that.
Yeah, I thought of you thinking about another girl. She said...
that what she's adjusting does not affect what just fell.
I don't know what to type.
So, anyway, yeah. Again, because of a snake draft, I got to pick back-to-back. So I went Alton and Darrell back-to-back.
Yeah, so the rest of the teams so Hannah's full team, Mark Long, Nehemiah, Ace Emerson, Beth, Katie, Kendall, and Latarian. My full team, Derek, Ruthie, Anissa, Big Easy, Jimmy, Yes, which that may...
Yeah, that's going to be a good pick.
That may turn out to be a great pick. And Arissa. And then Zach, Alton, Darrell, Kellyanne, Cyrus, Trishelle, Tech, and Hisela.
Getting Tech and Hisela as my last 2 is pretty solid, just personality-wise. And then, so obviously, it's not on here, but the alternate is John A.
That's right.
She just was.
I couldn't think of who it was.
I'm glad I went Hisela over John A. If I'm being honest.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's get into this.
Are you ready?
I'm born ready, like starter.
I thought Katie had a better haircut than she did 10 years ago.
I agree.
5 points to Katie. Mark is even more jacked. 5 points to Mark. Alton looks the same age as he did 20 years ago. 5 points. Hisella fell down. -10.
Oh my, -10.
But you know what? She owns it and the humor in it. So 5 points to her.
So it's just a -5.
Cyrus is a biker. 10 points.
It was he actually,
10
or was he just
points.
wearing like a leather vest?
He
I
looked
think
like
he
a
was
full-on
just
biker.
dressed as
Okay.
it.
You gave him 5. I said 10.
Oh, sorry. That's my team anyway.
Beth also looks the same age as she did 20 years ago. 5 points.
Which we all thought she was way older 20 years ago.
Big Easy is Easter ready in the suit he's in. 5 points.
He was dressed like he was going to church.
Batman villain Tech. 5 points.
Yeah, he did.
Let's see. Beth's quote is on the wall. That's pretty cool. 5 points. Nehemiah is Tenderoni. 10 points because that's a solid nickname.
I was going to say that should be a negative.
Oh, really?
No.
Because he didn't like it.
Women don't like Beth. -5
To Beth or
to Beth.
all
-5.
And -10 to Derek because he is not wearing a Smashing Heads tee. He had on a Challenge Mania tee.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Of
Oh,
course,
I didn't even
It said
see.
Maniac, right? That's a Challenge Mania.
Yeah.
it would be. Well, he's not okay. He's
What?
not on our podcast.
Well,
Although, challenge nope. SmashingHeads.com/store. You can get your own Smashing Heads tee, which you'll see Wes hopefully in one soon.
that's true. 10 points to Kendall for being the hottest 40-year-old, according to Ace.
Yeah.
You know what? 5 points to Ace for just being a good old Southern boy. Latarian doesn't get nervous. That's a solid 5 points there. And then, let's see. 10 points to Tech for the first F-bomb.
You're rewarding that?
Yeah,
I mean, it's a first.
it is.
With 10 points?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's 2.5 per letter.
Yeah. No, it would be 5 per letter. Oh, for,
What?
for 2 letters.
What?
Which is why I said 2.5.
Yeah. Darrell got the wrong team cube, -5.
Oh,
Trishelle ain't even trying, -5.
of course I have Trishelle. I picked her because of the drama.
10 points to Hisella for activating mommy mode. Arissa almost died,
Yeah.
-5.
That was the one I was nervous about.
Let's see. It ain't a vacation no more. 5 points to Jimmy. Because it is not a vacation no more. Latarian also almost died. -5. Let's see. Mommy mode activated again. 5 points to Hisella.
You get 10 for the initial activation and then 5 for the subsequent one. Yeah.
Recurring.
10 points to Big Easy for just yelling, "Let's effing go," over and over and over.
That's about all he contributed to
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Because he did not do well.
All right, so we're giving 25 points to each winner of the daily.
Oh my god, I didn't even think about that.
All right, you ready? Yes.
Really?
Well, that's how much people have been winning
Yeah,
on Double Agents.
he's right.
Big Easy, Darrell, Nehemiah, Hisella,
Oh my god.
Tech, Arissa, Beth,
All right, go ahead.
Jimmy, Kendall, and Trishelle.
There we go, Trishelle, getting out of that negative.
Oh, let's see. Tech is safe. 10 points. Well, yep.
I was gonna say, are we gonna do any sort of points for being captains, and then any sort of negative for being captains on the losing? We just haven't talked about it.
No, because it's not. This is an individual game.
What about just for clarity?
Well, so here's what I did: is I gave 10 points to Tech for being safe, and
Okay.
-10 to Latarian for going straight in.
That's what I was gonna say.
Okay.
Also, going forward, what about if someone saves someone with a lifesaver?
Yes, there will be points
Okay.
involved.
Yeah.
I also get 10 points to Tech because
Okay.
he's safe.
Gotcha.
10 points to Hisella for getting the lifesaver.
Yep.
-10 to Latarian for going straight in. An extra 5 to Tech for that little dance he did before they.
Somebody made a gif of that of him.
It was good. I liked it.
So who? Kellyanne was the other one, but she's not going in. So I guess. Okay.
Yeah. 5 points to Cyrus and Latarian for the little lunch session. Darrell thinks everybody did a good job. 5 points to Darrell. Yes is a mathlete. Ace thinks everybody is evil. -5. Looked like Alton was going fishing. 5 points.
Alton was dressed to go fishing the whole time.
Darrell basically tells Ace to take his ASS into elimination. 5 points to Darrell. Ace also thinks everyone's a monster. -5. Beth is the only reason Ace did the real world. 5 points to Beth. Let's see. Ace is still climbing through bedroom windows. I'm gonna give him 10 points for that.
I did see that.
I thought it was funny that he did that.
Assassin's Creed?
Yeah, there we go.
10 points. 10 points.
Try to put that into Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. I'm going to give 15 to Latarian for the Derrick Henry reference.
Biased, but...
You guys love
warranted.
Derrick Henry.
Okay.
Let's see. 5 points to Ace for the hand fishing. Ace just wants to make the world a better place. That's a 10-pointer right there.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. Hisela is still holding grudges. -5. We don't encourage that.
But that's kind of like a fight. Like I figured you'd give positive for that because
you know what? Give it to her. 5
she
points.
remembered.
Give it to her. 5 points. Now Ace is the dead weight. -5.
It's just funny that wasn't even like said in front of everyone. Like it literally was a one-off confessional, and she's like,
and she watched it, and she's
you,
like, you know what? Yeah. I'm holding on to this for 20 years.
Latarian doesn't know what pole wrestle is. -5.
I agree
but he
that.
figured it out.
He did. He is excited for this one. 5 points. Yes, his arm hairs are standing up. 5 points. Ace body slammed. -5 though. He got body slammed about 20 times, but we'll just stick with the one negative. Latarian the plunger. 10 points.
It did look like a plunger.
At one point, Anissa said that Kendall looked over to her and I guess asked, is this what the challenge is like now? And Anissa basically said that she's going to do that to Kendall if she gets the chance. So -5 to Kendall. Let's see. Latarian wins 50 points. Ace loses -25. Ace has still never won an elimination. -10. According to Ace, that's life. -5. Yeah, that's a terrible life. You know what? 10 points to him though, because the house chanted him on his way out. He's ready to see.
I've never seen them do that to anybody else.
He's ready to see his dog. I gotta give him 5 points for that. I can relate.
Yeah, I looked at you and I said, if you ever won on the challenge, that's how you would be.
I would. And lastly, 5 points to Darrell for welcoming us all back to the challenge. And those, ladies and gentlemen, are your fantasy points brought to you by Starter.
Just do it.
All right, so we're going to take a quick break while I add these up, and we'll be right back.
And we're back. Again, this segment brought to you by Starter.
Just do it.
God, just do it.
Did you forget?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, guys. Sorry, sponsors.
So, interesting week. A lot of scoring because so many people won the daily. You had a lot of people that got points that otherwise probably wouldn't have got a lot. The most interesting thing on here, every single person on Hannah's team scored at least once. Katie was the lowest with 5 points. Jake, Ruthie, and Anissa, your second and third pick got you 0 this week.
This sounds eerily similar.
Kellyanne, my third pick, got me 0 this week.
You know.
However...
you didn't even mention my number one pick got me -10.
Yeah.
So between my top 3 picks, -10.
I think So the problem is, like, what we did with this last time with fantasy is I think we were all thinking more long-term. That's why you went Fessy number 1, whatever. We thought who was going to win a final.
Yeah.
And realistically, it's the day-to-day people who are going to get involved in fights and get in drama and win dailies that are going to get you the points. And, like, at this point on our other one, Jake, you have only Casey left. And I have CT and Leroy and Amber B. And then Hannah's got a lot of people, but compared to us. So anyway, Hannah in the... You know what? I'll do it in this way.
Do it that way, Zach.
Jake, you're in third place.
Of course. It's a freaking repeat. We're doing this again.
God. With 115.
Okay.
It's still not a bad weekly score. Because again, we had a lot of you had 4 of the daily winners on your team.
Thank God.
So you had 115. Hannah, you're in second with 140. You did have Latarian who won, but
Ace
ended up with a -5 overall.
Yeah.
And then that was your one downfall. I did not have anyone in the negative. I only had Kellyanne with 0. And I have 185.
Okay.
So it's not out of reach, obviously. So it's 185, 140, 115. That can all change in a week, how this score is going. If we have another big team game, then that's going to change really fast. So it'll be interesting going forward. I'm going to have to write this in at the top up here. Let's do the subtotals.
Also, John A was an alternate. She didn't score anything this week either.
Did you do that on purpose, or was that just an accident?
No. I mean, I would have given her some points.
Okay, yeah, because let's try to keep track of how many points she scored.
Yeah, no, she didn't. She didn't do anything this week,
even if she doesn't join anyone's team. So it's close. We'll see what happens going forward. You got anything else to say?
Overall, I still feel good about the prospects of my team.
I don't think any of us should be freaking out yet, other than Hannah taking ace at number 3.
Yeah, that was a
I didn't know. I didn't know most of the people on here.
And we didn't either.
It was an uninformed.
I mean, again, like
guesstimate.
He got Yes as his next to last pick. You got Latarian, he's your last. I got Tech and Hasela as my last 2 because we were just like we don't really know much about these people. So those will show up sooner rather than later, I think. But I think we all can say, especially compared to this last week, how boring that Double Agents episode was to us. That this
night and day,
so much more fun, and that probably made this more enjoyable, if I'm being honest. But I think we're in good hands with this one. As I said at the top of the show, the Wes interview is available. Patreon.com/SmashingHeads podcast. It'll be everywhere else Monday at some point, audio and video form. And other than that, Patreon does directly support the show. You get ad-free episodes, things like that. So just check it out, and then. SmashingHeadsPodcast.com/store is our web store. Follow us on Twitter at SmashingHeads, at SmashingHeads Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. And other than that, we will be back with you guys next week for Double Agents and then again for All Stars.
Have a good night, everyone.